Hello, everyone, and welcome to VEX Warfield. We are going to be talking tonight about, generally just talking and spreading a little bit of information, hopefully, and teaching a few people a thing or two about a thing or two, if we're lucky. But I'd like to play a little video right off the bat and basically do a little warm-up. So I'm going to do a little magical screen share. Just a moment, I get it set up for everyone. Hi, Scrimshaw, welcome. I'm gonna put a little bit of the Kansas-Nebraska Act explained. Hey, Panther. And if I could find the right tab, then I will put it up and get this going. All right. Double check here, put it up on screen. And
Today's lecture, we're going to take a look at the Kansas-Nebraska Act. I'm so excited for all of us, but especially if you're in school and you think, minutes, guys, encourage major legislation. Help. So here we go. Keep learning. All right, so there's a couple things that I think are really important to understand. First, we're dealing with the issue of sectionalism. 1854, guys, it's only a decade off, less than a decade off, 5 years off, sport breaking in. So I think it's really important that we first kind of recognize that we're looking through the lens of the Civil War. So a couple names. The first name you need, bang, bang, Stephen Douglas just beat Lincoln and is now senator from Illinois. Lincoln was debated very famous, and you'll find in a moment that really all revolving around this issue. So Stephen Douglas' big issue is that he really doesn't want the nation to have a civil war. So he's trying to find a way to kind of not take a side and really kind of broker some kind of way of just dealing with slavery. The issue come onto the front burner of America in 54, two states coming into the Union, Kansas, Nebraska. And here's kind of the umbrella of the Missouri Compromise had created this kind of invisible line across the United States, which was supposed to decide once and for all kind of the issues of slavery. If you're up above the line, you were free. If you're down below the line, you're a slave state. Problem solved. But of course, in 1850, this compromise of 1850 with California coming in, and the Missouri Compromise really starts to fall apart. And in 1854, it's going to further fall apart when it's decided through the bill written by Stephen Douglas that we're now going to use vocabulary. I'm so excited. Popular sovereignty problem of slavery. This was really, at the end of the day, what issue in the Lincoln-Douglas debates was. Lincoln is a member of really kind of a third party group called the Free Soil Party, and he sees best as free land. Lincoln's not going to go down south and like slaves, but he definitely sees these new states coming in as free states. And especially after the Missouri Compromise, Kansas and Nebraska territories didn't have slavery. So it was always thought they would never have slavery. And now, for the first time, we see slavery expanding into free territories. I think that's the fear. That's the deal that's ripping the country apart. So it seems like the question of sovereignty, which is where the settlers decide for themselves. By Stephen Douglas doesn't take up an issue. He can just say, let democracy fix the problem. But here's the problem, because it's a miserable failure. And that's the first thing you really want to kind of get as a conclusion and fail. Because what happens is, rather than having some kind of like democratic process bet where they vote all in favor of slavery, raise your hand, that's what he uses. That's the vocab word. Bury your head around right. Because when they happen, dinner was heard every rattle, on slavery to right for this other next, no offense. And you're going to get the abolitionists. You're going to move from there. And here's another bang bang name, John Brown, the radical abolitionist. He's going to make his way to this, not to talk about slavery, but to really push for abolitionism, certainly to stop any kind of slavery from spreading. And that actually spills off him eventually getting out to Harper's Ferry, trying over its government. So Nebraska, it's popular sovereignty as a method to try to save off the war. At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. At the end of the day, what matters is this is kind of an episode in American history which is going to radicalize a lot of people and which is really going to push the nation closer to civil war rather than farther away. So nice try, Stephen Douglas. You try it later.
I muted myself. Yeah, okay. I was checking checking the YouTube and if it was playing all messed up. You're right, Michelle, it was all messed up. You said my voice is going through. Is it still the case? Because if my voice is breaking up, then I probably need to go ahead and just shut this down. And yeah, I don't think the internet gods want, at least my area, we have a shitty internet trickle that comes into us. So, is my voice clear enough to keep going, or should we go ahead and kill this thing? And oh, okay, so I am coming through. Excellent. So it's just a link with the video, and probably because I have let's see, Telegram on and I have Discord on. So was the video playing okay for you, Panther? Gotta love tech. I know the video was playing. I just didn't know if the video was more than enough. It was bad. It was on. Okay. That tells me a lot. All right, we're going to need to drop this. At least the tech issues at the beginning of the change that you gotta sort out. It's like a fucking rite of passage. Shut down Discord. That'll help. Let's see. What can I do to entertain you while I do this? Do a little thing and dance, but you can't see me dance, and I'm not a singer, so. Let's see. All right, we'll go ahead and try this. And oh, I have to do the screen share again. Shit. Dance monkey. Yeah, that ain't happening. The only dancing I do is slow dancing. Let's see. All right. we'll go ahead and try this again real quick. And if it works, hopefully it will run a little bit smoother now that I got Discord closed. Share that shit. All right, we got it up on screen and continue. Okay. I forgot to hit the damn sound button to send it with it, so never mind. It was a short video anyway to kind of do a little warm up. Hey, Scrimshaw, you want to come on up and talk to me for a little while? I feel lonely. I know Panther won't. She's chicken. Okay. Yeah, nothing ever works right for me. I'm gonna close down the stream. Actually, I don't even know if my tear ducts work anymore. Haven't used them in so long. Sure thing, Scrimshaw. I'll go ahead and throw this in there. What the hell? Maybe Pepper decide not to be chicken. Have a loose night tonight. We're going to talk about whatever's on your mind, because quite frankly, I didn't really plan out anything except discussing problems with the assemblies, and quite frankly, they're in process of being either late or had troubles connecting, or tech issues. So no big. Go ahead and do this the old-fashioned way. First one to loses. Okay. Scrimshaw, welcome.
Hello. What up, VEX?
Yeah, not a whole lot, as you can tell. My stream's going kind of slow.
Oh. So, did you go to the meeting last night?
Depends which meeting you're talking about.
Oh,
We had a Missouri meeting.
national.
No, I wasn't at the national meeting.
6 hours. We went until the recording time stopped. So, it was unbelievable.
Yeah, I heard there was a little turmoil going on with a few people. We won't get into names or anything.
No, I don't think it was really too much turmoil, but mostly, different people talking about different states, coming into the union like later than some of the other states back east, and they had like Louisiana, which had the Louisiana Purchase and all kinds of stuff. There's a lot of historical talk, which I found fascinating, actually.
Yeah.
And historical talk about Hawaii. So, but man, I've been tired all day because I didn't get to bed until after 3. It ended at 3 for me, and then I couldn't go to sleep afterwards because, of course, I was caffeinated. Very
Mm.
caffeinated to stay up that late. So I didn't go back to, I couldn't go to sleep. So it is what it is. But yeah, I thought it was a great meeting. Yeah. And yeah, some
Yeah,
people were having difficulty.
Every Thursday I'm working, so I never catch on to the Thursday meetings.
I don't know if you can listen to them recording or whatever. I could find out for you if you want. Yeah, work. That's something that needs to be done. I haven't.
Yeah, unfortunately, I work nights, so I kind of have to.
Yeah, yeah. I usually work on my own time, but I haven't had much of my own time lately, so I'm not getting much accomplished via work. But I spent, I don't know, a bit of time this week trying to get Reba an interview with someone, and I don't know. I just had a really weird week. I'm not getting enough time to do my own work, which is I work for myself, thankfully, so I can do what I
Right.
want when I want, but I'm just not getting enough time to do what I should be doing for me. And then, after having stress and stuff, I
Yeah.
just kind of chill out and watch the night stuff, hear and comment and stuff, and just it's
Yeah.
my way of saying hello, getting away from whatever I'm doing and all that. So, yeah, it's too bad your video wouldn't play well because, yeah, it was kind of choppy. I don't know why. That's strange. I wonder why it breaks up.
It's my connection. It's my
Yeah,
connection. I'm running the stream. I'm trying to play a video, so that's my shitty Jefferson City internet can.
yeah.
It used to
Because
be
I
better
noticed,
before all the Biden bullshit.
yeah, I don't recall it like you breaking up as much. Like even your voice on your chat when you chat and breaks up a little bit, but I could still understand most of what you're saying. So it's not like real bad. Yes, cluck, cluck, cluck. Panther, why don't you come up, man? You know,
She's chicken.
yeah, I know.
She's a scaredy cat. There you go. She's a scaredy cat.
Well, it seems like whenever I go over to Hippies, like when he has his show now, last couple times I go over there, nobody will go on with him, and he's waiting and waiting and waiting. I say, oh, I end up going in and breaking the ice for him so people will go on. Then people will go on after I go on and say hello. So, come on, Panther.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the problems I have going on with like what he is doing, which is cool, it's great, but I'm not really a constant talker type of person.
Yeah.
My piece, and I'm looking for a back and forth type of thing. And so, going one-on-one kind of makes me go, I don't know what to say.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I get that way too. I start talking about stupid stuff. But, yeah. I mean, that was a long, long meeting last night. Sheesh. Everything's been
right
long.
after that, I got home at about 11 o'clock or so because Hayden, who's basically mating from Missouri, he was leaving messages and stuff like that saying that there's a meeting that we're going to have, and get on the meeting as soon as possible. He jumped on me, and it had something to do with somebody doing things wrong, and this person was going to show up at our first meeting on Sunday, I believe, and was going to help guide us through and stuff like that, give us more nerd type of thing. But something happened with this person where they did the wrong thing or did things out of order or something. I don't know the whole detail about it, but this person got in trouble. and so they won't be joining in on us. But we got lucky last night. We were talking and stuff like that, and Destin started talking. So
Yep.
yeah, that was awesome. Time that we get Destry to help us out, I am very appreciative.
Yeah, he knows a lot. The old time was really good last night on the meeting, and
Yeah,
it's hard. It's hard for the newer people. Like still feel like I'm new, and I take directives pretty good, but
me
it's
too.
just like I think what has happened with some people is just they've switched their directive a bit, and so it's made things confusing. And so that got clarified last night, which I was very thankful for, because I was on the right track in the beginning, and then I got off the track. And so it doesn't really matter, because I don't have too many people. Hey, she lying to you.
She said, "I'm a listener, not a talker." I'm like, I've talked to you before. You talk a lot.
Yes, you do talk a lot. Come on, Panther. But I think all in all it was good because it really clarified things for people. And when I
Oh,
spoke,
I learned. Go ahead.
I kind of like stuck up for somebody that was having problems because it was confusing, and I don't think sometimes that some people really understand how confusing things can be for someone who's starting out when they say to do one thing and then they turn around and say another, and it just gets confusing. So I just feel bad because someone's gonna have to do all the paperwork all over again. I don't know how many times they've done it now. So I don't know. I
We have
yield.
to look at it in a way that basically it has to be done. I mean,
Yep.
even if we make mistakes, it has
Yep.
to be redone. So it kind of, I try not to let the setback like that get to me. So I'm like, well, it's not right. I have to, okay, let's do it.
Well, I'm just hoping we get some more people in.
It'll happen.
I got a new guy that came in. He's really great. I think he's gonna be really good. So
That's awesome.
yeah, he's from the total other side of the state, though. But we'll see. I need to get some more people from all the other counties, man. I gotta get time to work
Yeah,
on my county.
have you guys discussed doing a in-person meetup?
Yeah, it's kind of cool. He offered his place for that, but I have to drive to the other side of the state. There's no meeting in between, but that's okay. I'll do that. If that
Yeah.
means we'll get more people at the meeting, I don't give a shit. I'll do that. I'll get a hotel or something
Oh,
because
yeah.
if I gotta drive all the way out there, I don't know if I'm gonna get back in no hurry. I may, I only go so many hours a day and then I poop out. Either that or I'll sleep in my
Yeah.
car for a while before I drive back because I know I won't have enough energy to drive out
Right.
there and do a meeting and then drive back all at once. So, yeah, maybe I could pass out in my car, go to my girlfriend's house and park and pass out in my car or some damn thing.
Yeah. I've done stuff
Anyway,
like that before.
yeah,
Yeah. One of the cool things about it is, I guess it could be is right now all the hotel rooms are all booked up, all because nobody's going anywhere. So make
yeah,
it cheaper.
that's true. I might be able to get a place cheaper if there's a place open out there. I'm not too familiar with what's all out there where he's at, but um,
Right.
he seems to think he can get three counties together. So I'm like, Yahoo! But every time I've been trying to get out and get to some people that I see that go out and they do some protesting and stuff, but I haven't got out. It's always something come up, and whether it's my son or whatever. I got sick a couple weekends ago, bad, and so every time I turn around, it's something. But uh, then I heard down in Gloucester, people are saying, got posters up saying, "End Agenda 2021." I mean, yeah, 21. So I'm hoping I could go down there and see who's around that maybe can, uh, maybe put up them posters. Maybe I'll get some people on board that way. But
Yeah, I've been thinking about actually, in ways of recruiting. I had making up
yeah,
little businesses that say like Missouri Assembly for and then basically talking to people and handing out cards. You can contact me online here, and that type of thing. So they actually have
yeah,
something on in their hands that they can do. Stryker
right,
made the comment about he's got a whole bucket full of business cards that he pays no attention to because he travels so much, with wrestling and all that stuff. That's a good point, but you also have to think about this. Any person that you're talking to about assembly at all has to be at
yeah,
least a little bit interested in the assembly, or
exactly,
in their saying to them, they would be more apt to keep that card and use it more than make sure your new windshield at Dave's mobile glass.
yeah.
So yeah, it's I think
Well, I'm
you can't hand them out. I mean, to anybody, you have to actually talk to the people, vet everybody.
exactly, yeah,
It's one of the Hayden. Like lots of people in the assembly know me, Hayden, but uh, vet me. I'm vetting you. I'm looking you up and finding out who you are. I want you to do the same thing. I mean, these
yeah,
people that we get assembly have to become friends. This is what it's all
yeah,
about. And
yeah,
the more we cooperate and work together, off everyone will be. We don't have to pull in everybody off the fucking streets to learn about this stuff.
yeah.
In only 3% in the beginning. Now we have a
Well,
little bit more than 3%.
that would
And
be
we're not
nice.
drawing weapons. We're not drawing weapons. We're drawing parchment.
Yeah, well, we're not doing anything. We're just mostly studying right now. And,
Absolutely.
right now, I had, like, including myself, 4 at the meeting. It seems like I keep losing people, but you know what? I think that they just get nervous and don't want to jump in full away because they see that there's going to be some work have to be done. And people don't want to commit time. And so that gets
But
kind of weird.
they'll commit time to me more errors and stuff like that, and spouting up on YouTube and stuff like that, but won't actually crack in a book or look something up and
Yeah.
truth.
Well, my problem with doing research for me, I mean, I can read something 20 times over and I'm still forgetting stuff. I don't have much memory retention. So it's like I can't tell you how many times I've read the steps in the handbook, and I still got to read the steps in the handbook again because it's just not sticking. So like
You're not alone.
I'll go to California classes and sit there and listen to all the beginning classes, and I get it and everything. But could I quote you stuff? Nope. Have I taken notes? Yep, plenty. I got notebooks full of notes right now. And I was taking notes. I take notes at all the national meetings, especially when there's stuff being discussed like research materials and stuff. So if somebody needs help with that, and then Oh, I
Yeah.
found a really cool presentation. I want to go to the Danvers Public Library in my state. I think it's called the Peabody Institute Library is having. Um, I think he's the former librarian there. My father worked with him on some genealogy for my family. His name is Richard Trask. He's doing the Revolutionary War history of Danvers, which is a city close by me. And
I've heard that name
he's
before.
yeah, Danvers, Massachusetts. And so anyway, I guess he's got a copy or of something that was mentioned about the original uh, Constitution. And I think it's the Constitution of the states rather than, Massachusetts Constitution. It has a picture of George Washington on it. So I just thought, wow, that would be a really interesting lecture to go here. And I'm wondering if any of my relatives, like from that area, were in the Revolutionary War.
Hmm.
'Cause I'm sure I have relatives that were in the Revolutionary War. I'm having my cousin work on some of my genealogy right now, too, so I'll find out more. I think I had a cousin named Daniel Twist that was in the Revolutionary War, but there might be more. So, but yeah, you
I
could
don't know.
sign up for that class. It goes on Zoom. It's on the 20th. It's Tuesday night, the day after Patriots Day, which is Monday here.
So, what, next Tuesday?
Yeah. If anybody's interested in it, you go to the library online, and you click on. They'll have an events calendar, and you click on the event. And I think at the other day they had 60 more places to go to the event online. And all you do is just sign up and you give them your email, and they'll send you the link when the day of the event comes up to get onto the Zoom.
Excellent.
Let me just see if I can find the address of it, because somebody might be interested in it. I just think any Revolutionary War history right now would be kind of cool. I'm looking at my favorites list. Okay. Where are you? Oh, it's HTTPS, the two little dot things up and over each other, 2// danvislibrary.org. That's what it is. danvislibrary.org. And you go on there and you go to the
If
events
you want
page
to,
and just click on the
if you want
events.
to, you can go ahead and go to bit chat and type it in, and I can.
Okay, cool. I don't know whether, I think people would enjoy that. Let me see if I can find it again.
Sure.
Yeah,
And
I'm
we
just trying to
have
copy.
Hayden in us. Welcome, Hayden. Your mic is on
Whoops.
mute.
No, I don't know if that's it, man.
There you go.
It's got all
Howdy.
this stuff. I don't know what it is. I'll just type it in because I try to copy the link and I don't like it. Hold on, I'll get it back again. Whoops.
That's it. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
How you doing tonight, VEX?
Oh, all right. I got Scrimshaw here. She's. I keep on mixing up which state she's in. What state are you in, Scrimshaw?
Thanks, Panther. I'm in Massachusetts. Massachusetts. How you doing, Hayden?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm actually doing okay. I wasn't
Good.
too well earlier, but things calming down. Feeling a little better.
Glad
Yeah,
to hear it.
pardon?
So I'm
Yeah,
glad to
we're
hear
just
you're feeling better.
Thank you. Yeah. Were you on till 3 a.m. last night?
Oh, we were up
it went
late.
longer than that. I had to bail out. They were about cars.
Oh,
Yeah, me and Destry ended up talking about some proprietary internal combustion engines. But
oh. Oh, did they go back on? Because I thought the phone call ended at it was
oh
like 3 o'clock at my time that it ended, I think. And so I just got off and I was like, I can't do any more because it
No,
was like 6 hours.
yeah, it National went for a long time.
Wicked long. Yeah, thank you,
we could.
Panther.
Last night it was after the National Assembly call, and we had our little, I guess, Missouri call, and
Oh,
Destry
cool.
joined us. And by right about 3 o'clock in the morning, they started. We were asking questions before this, but about 3 o'clock in the morning, about 3:30 and stuff like that, they started getting into cars, and I was just like, I'm gonna fall out. I gotta go.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have been about 4:30 here, I think. You guys are Central Time, ain't you?
Yep.
Oh,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
couldn't have lasted. I had all I could do to last 3. That was funny. That was long. It was so interesting though. The history, everybody's history stuff was really interesting.
Oh, it's incredible. I've I've been doing a deep dive on Missouri, and my word, if it is if it's not messed up beyond all repair, I don't know what it is. Destry
Or
informed me yeah, Fubar. Destry informed me that Kentucky was even more complicated than the state of Missouri,
Yeah,
which I did a little bit of research into, and it took me about 5 minutes to figure out they were definitely had a lot more problems than we did. But I was doing some looking around earlier, and Missouri sat around waiting so long on the Union to give Missouri statehood that Missouri created its own bank, made its own currency, uh,
wow.
sent, I believe, over 18 petitions to Congress,
Yeah,
and they would not be heard. And it's quite interesting. The Missouri essentially just said, "All right, we'll make our own government," you know,
yeah,
and we don't need you.
well, the reason they kind of delayed on that is because they were looking for a way to that happen. They didn't want to bring in another. Well, we'll just call it a slave state at the time.
yeah,
And that's accurate. I mean that's what it was about, and
It was
it's
all political.
of course, and it's very interesting because you find the Union contradicts themselves in the whole situation of Missouri at least 4 times. So
wow.
in the early 1800s, there was an act passed and pretty much stated that everything below the 36 30-minute parallel would be a slave state, and everything above would be a non-slave state. Well, Missouri wanted to have their sovereignty and their say, and I'm not nobody misconstrue this. I'm not pro-slavery, but I am pro-sovereignty. And Missouri, trying to exercise their sovereignty, was saying, our economy is based on this. So you've said that everything based on this line is supposed to be free, and then everything below is supposed to be slavery permitted. But even that is an outreach on the government's behalf because they're interfering with the state's sovereignty. And it was all in an effort to try and keep the peace, which is interesting. So you could say there's good intentions on everybody's side or point of view, but the federal government was overstepping. But at the same point in time, the issue of slavery had to be addressed at some point. And it is a mess. It is a mess.
Wow.
And the Missouri Compromise is ridiculous. I actually found, Vex, I can send it to you later. There's an interesting website. Let's see if I can't pull up the information on it.
Yeah, I was reading up on the Missouri Compromise and got myself familiarized with it, and remembered, somebody was, I forget it, one of my kids from like middle school was talking about Missouri Compromise and how, it was all this, back and forth, and they were kind of ignoring Missouri in the beginning. It was, he told it was kind of funny because I hear his voice in my head, so that making it. But yeah, I had to reacquaint myself with that, but had no idea about the Kansas-Nebraska thing.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I started diving into myself right now. I mean, I played a video when I first started the stream that kind of briefly touched on the Kansas-Nebraska Act. And I was having so many problems, I didn't even get to pay attention to it.
Yeah, you couldn't. It's too bad that didn't come out clear.
There's a website. I'll put I'll copy and link it in the chat. That gives a lot of detail on Missouri's situation, essentially.
Excellent.
That's awesome.
Some of it, I'm going to go ahead and say some of it you may take with a grain of salt. The wordage is somewhat legalese.
No goody.
But for the most part, it is very informative and true to a lot of the reading I have been doing. Actually,
so
I got a book from a friend that was published in 1941, and been doing some Missouri studying with that, and it's very, very interesting. There's so much going on. There was so many nations involved in Missouri in just a 30 to 40 year time span. And then here's Missouri, which everybody's hating on. Poor old Missouri. But I'm not gonna lie, Missouri jumped into the picture and stirred the pot.
Yeah.
Put it mildly. They stirred the pot and they got the biggest spoon they could to do it with.
That we put in is show and error.
Well, they probably did that because they were getting ignored, right?
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah, you could say that. You Missourians ain't worth it. Yeah. The my head as soon as I start speaking. I hate it when that happens. I'm gonna just choke at old age.
That happens to me all the time.
Yeah,
And
unfortunately, it happens to me all the time too. It's those details that mess me up.
yeah, I mean, last night on the meeting, I thought all the information on Hawaii and North Dakota was amazing. You know, especially North
Yeah,
Dakota.
Here's a
that
good
makes
little description on this website. And they're summarizing here colonial Missouri. And they said, like the states east of the Mississippi, Missouri has a colonial history, but unlike them, Missouri was never part of the British Empire. Instead, it was European colonizers. Its European colonizers were French and Spanish and had left a complicated legacy for the future state. They put it very mildly.
That's
yeah,
interesting.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it, it's
Not only were
I'm brainstorming.
what was that?
Go ahead.
I said not only were we dealing with trying to gain statehood, we were having wars fought in the Missouri Territory, and we were dealing with the Spanish, the French, and Native Americans, and there was apparently a very large issue with the Mormon population.
Wow. Was that when the Mormons were going west to Utah?
Well, actually, Missouri got so fed up with the Mormon peoples that they cornered them into an area where they were at their backs had a Native American settlement or territory,
Yeah.
and the other side they had the Missourians, and the only place they had left to go that was safe for them was Illinois.
Wow.
Quite interesting.
That is interesting.
And then I also found out that Missouri's capital was in St. Louis for a small
Right.
period of time.
What was it?
Yeah, that's one thing I did know.
That was
Started out as Alex. Started out as St. Louis being the capital. Glad they moved it.
Where was it?
It wasn't
It was
St.
St. Louis. Yeah, and now it's Jefferson City. I don't remember when they changed it.
It didn't last long. I'd have to look that up. But
Right.
Dan posted a quote from Thomas Jefferson. Vex, I don't know if you read that, but it was it's so well written, and it's it's just almost sad poetry, but it's so accurate. It says, in a letter to John Holmes, written by Thomas Jefferson, this momentous question over slavery in Missouri, like a fire bell in the night, awakened and filled me with terror. I considered it at once as the knell of the Union. It is hushed indeed for the moment, but this is a reprieve only, not a final sentence. A geographical line coinciding with a marked principle, moral and political, once conceived and held up to the angry passion of men, will never be obliterated, and every new irritation will mark it deeper and deeper. I regret that I am now to die in the belief that the unless sacrifice of themselves by the generation of 76 to acquire self-governance and happiness to their country, it is to be thrown away by the unwise and unworthy passions of their sons, and that my only consolation is to be that I live not to weep over it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That Thomas Jefferson is I have a lot of beliefs about some of the founding fathers, and I believe John Adams and Thomas Jefferson were probably the most true patriots out of all of them.
Wow.
But Thomas Jefferson had a way with words. And
That's for sure.
And I mean, he nailed it right on the head there. Every time that it comes up, it'll just make the mark deeper and deeper. And pretty much what he says there is unless people will give up the idea of slavery, which, I mean, has happened. But he said, unless that happens, these people will never truly be self-governed. And he says these people are unwise and unworthy.
Excuse me.
But I find it promising, though. I feel like in today's time, we are in a place where we can obviously handle the topic of slavery. I don't think it's really any question in anyone's mind, at least that I know of, as to whether slavery is appropriate or not. But it boils down to more or less, at that point in time, was the government acting as it should have, or, was it overstepping? Which I think everybody would agree that they overstepped.
Yes.
I mean, they stepped directly on the sovereignty of the states.
That's true.
Almost like it's a pattern. Sorry.
You cut out there at the end.
I said sorry. I was thinking of the parallels of yesterday versus today.
Well, once the government figures out which buttons to push, they won't quit pushing it until it quits working.
Yeah, and they made departments figure out where those buttons are. Yeah.
Seems like.
Go ahead.
Seems like they're pushing a lot of buttons lately.
Oh, that's all they do.
Every button.
They might as well be operators.
Yeah.
These people are illegitimate. They keep on just. They say they in speeches and things like that they'll take, but as soon as they walk away from the microphone, they're heading for the aisle. These
Yeah.
people are corrupt and need to be taken out, and I don't mean that in bad ways. I mean they need to go to jail, and some of them need to be hung for treason. Quite frankly.
No, they need to be out of office at any rate, whatever the other consequences are.
You know what? Yeah, I would say at this point, there's some deserving of a certain punishment, and some deserving to be stripped of their office. But at this point in time, I will be happy with either one. I would like to see them gone and replaced with somebody who's going to hold true to their oath.
And that's when I'll jump in and say that, and once the faster we can get our counties in our state, as many as possible, we want 75% at least. And the sooner we can do that, the sooner they realize that they work for us. They have to be reminded, and the only way that they're going to even come close to taking that reminder is the National Assembly and Missouri assemblies, state assemblies, county assemblies. Otherwise, they're just keep on walking all over us.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, it's going to be the Matrix. Because, maritime law considers us all cargo. We're not people.
Yeah.
Every time you step into a courtroom behind that little fence area, you step into maritime law jurisdiction. Jurisdiction says unless you proclaim it, you are nothing but a box.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. They tell you what to do because you are nothing. You declare yourself as a person and present the stuff that we learned from national and assemblies lab and from the 18 U.S. codes. And walk out of there and not even, and basically in the nicest, politest way, of course, you can tell them to fuck off.
Yeah.
Politely.
Kindly, please go and F yourself.
And I love giving this example because it's a personal example. I've been driving for the past 6 months without proper registrations on my vehicle. Cops have been following me. They run my tags. They find out that I already beat it in court. They don't follow me after that.
Wow.
I had a similar situation in Kansas when I lived there, and there was a judge, and I presented the judge with an affidavit. He didn't care too much for it. He told me to enter a plea. I said, I do not plea. I do not understand the charges being brought against me. And he said, well, we're not going to play any games here, blah, blah, blah. How do you plea? I said, Commissioner, I said, are you allowed to accept uninformed pleas? And he just gave me the dirtiest look after I said that. He was not happy. He said, son, I ain't going to argue with you. How do you plea? Either you do it or I'll do it for you. And I said, Commissioner, I object. You do not have the right, and you are not allowed to practice law from the bench. You will not enter a plea on my behalf. And I do not understand the charges being brought against me. And if you care to explain them, we could proceed from there. If not, I have no plea for you. He goes, all right, that's fine. I'll enter a plea of not guilty on your behalf. I said, Commissioner, I object. He goes, really? Really? You object to me entering a plea of not guilty on your behalf? I said, Commissioner, unless you are here and now making a judicial determination that I am not guilty, and that is what you mean by entering a plea on my behalf, then I accept your entry of me being not guilty. He goes, oh, no. That's not what I mean. That's not what I mean.
Excuse me.
And he got quite upset even more after I had made a point to show the rest of the court that he had just declared that I was not guilty by entering a plea for me. And he kept threatening me with being in contempt of court, and this was not a nice quasi judge. He was so audacious that he was wearing a pink suit.
Oh,
I'm not kidding at all. He was wearing a pink suit,
that's crazy in itself.
and I knew I was in the right here. I was pretty nervous because this was the most extreme I had ever gone to in practicing my rights and flexing my rights. I was pretty nervous, but I knew I was in the right because he had kicked two gentlemen out of his quote-unquote courtroom because one wouldn't remove his hat. He held one in contempt and threatened to jail the other. And here I am shouting, "Let the record reflect," to the whole room. And he wouldn't do a single thing about it. And once I had left there, he had entered a plea on my behalf and told me to get out before he had me jailed. And I said, under duress and threat, I'm leaving for my own safety. And I went out to the parking lot, called the sheriff, and the sheriff wouldn't show up. So I called him again. They still wouldn't show up. So I called them again. They finally showed up. And I told them, this is so long ago. I said, this is U.S. code, blah, 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 blah. He's in violation of this. I said, the court clerk, the judge, and everyone in that courtroom is guilty of conspiracy of deprivation of my rights. And he goes, well, do you have any proof of that? And I was like, there's 45 witnesses in the room.
Not to mention the court stenographer.
Well, it wasn't a common law court, so I don't even know if there was an actual record.
I believe all the courtrooms have to record thing.
They're supposed to record everything.
Yeah.
Unless
you can actually use their own transcripts.
Unless the judge says strike that from the record. I don't know, there's something that they do to strike stuff from the record, but nobody said that. So all that stuff should have been recorded.
For them to strike things from the record, and they have to actually it has to be from the defendant side or the prosecution side, objection or something of that nature.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. But my whole point was being there when it was my turn to have them discuss my case. They said my name a couple of times, and I finally got up. I walked up to the edge, and this was a courtroom in a small town in the basement of the YMCA.
Wow.
And the judge sat on a platform, on a wood platform, that was about 2 inches off the ground. and that was his jurisdiction. I refused to
Yep.
step up to it. I stood on the edge there, and he said, "Are you Hayden?" I said, "My first name is Hayden." He says, "And your last name is what?" I said, "Sir, I don't have a family, or I don't have a last name." He says, "Oh, you don't?" I said, "I have a family name." He started chuckling, and I was like, "I'm not laughing." And
Words matter, people.
oh yeah, they do. And he said, "Come here, come here." And I said, "I refuse. I'm not interested in engaging in any contract with you. I'm here by special appearance and for no other purpose." And he threatened me with contempt 3 times.
Wow.
And if he had done it an additional time and nobody followed his orders and no bailiff or anybody had actually taken me into custody, he no longer has any authority. There's a rule of 3 in courts. It's very
Really?
interesting. Yep.
Wow. So the 4th time will be like moot, right? Wow.
The fourth time is essentially, if he has to ask a 4th time, he loses control of his courtroom.
Wow.
And he has to abandon ship, which was interesting because when I first got into the courtroom and presented my affidavit to the court clerk, and I filed it with him, he actually waited about 20 minutes or so, and they brought my file up to his desk. And once he had got it, and they had my affidavit on top there, and I knew it was on top because it's full legal length paper. And I saw him read that, and right when he got that, he stood up and walked out of the room. And then he walked out of the room, turned around, and came back into the room.
Wow.
He had to reset.
He did. That's exactly what he was doing.
What was it he was doing? Pardon me.
He was essentially. It's been a while since I've actually looked into court procedures, but what he essentially was doing was leaving. Him leaving and then coming back is establishing like a new session or a new courtroom or
Right.
I can't think of that
basically
wordage, but
a good word is session. It's a court session, like all rise, until and then everybody sits down, and then when the judge gets up and leaves, he could be breaking for lunch or just a recess, but that's actually a new session.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
And if the judge leaves the courtroom, everyone that is still in the courtroom is free to leave.
Yep.
They showed up for their court.
Adjourned.
They showed up for their day in court. The judge left.
Wow.
Yeah, it can literally get amazing just the looks that the judge will give you when you talk to him about this stuff. Because I had the actual, because I stepped past the line, I had the actual judge yelling at me, because he could, because I'm one ear, so I was like, I can't hear you. You're gonna have to speak up. I can't hear you, the whole time.
Oh no.
And the it's funny is because we were talking about earlier, Vex, you said words matter, And when I was kind of first figuring all this out, is the word understand. Do you understand? Now, to me, that always meant, does it make sense to you? Do you get it? Did you hear what I said?
Yeah.
In a court of
Right.
law, or these quasi-courts, quasi-judges, whatever you want to refer to them
Let's
as,
call it time law courts.
to understand is to stand under.
Yep. That's what I was going to say.
To be under or within their jurisdiction, and they have the authority over you.
Right.
Which is it's a nasty game. It's a nasty game. It's so deceitful and disgusting to me. And I know we are the land of the free, quote unquote.
Yeah.
But I don't think I pursue these assemblies so much because there's not a free thing about this freaking country, and it's about damn time that something gets done about that, because telling everybody they're free when they're just paid slaves
Yeah.
is
They,
to
and
me
that's what I have.
that's the work of the
Go ahead.
devil, if you ask me.
To lie.
Well, it is. I mean, you could, what is that? Paul Harvey. If I Were the Devil. I recommend you, if you haven't seen that, watch it. Because it explains everything that's happening. And it was Paul Harvey a long time ago who explained it. It's the same thing. I mean, it's one of the reasons it clicked into my head watching that video that, well, we'll just say it put me on my path to God. Just because it made things click and things made sense. That movie, watch it. Or not the movie, it's just a little excerpt that he tells you a little story.
What's
And
it called?
What was
Paul Harvey. If
Paul
I
Harvey.
Were the Devil. Paul
Thank you.
Harvey. Yeah, he's an old radio guy.
Quite the title.
Excellent. Yeah. It's powerful. It's on YouTube, I believe, also, so if it'll be easier to find.
Once your eyes are open to the assembly, and your eyes can be open to all the nonsense going on without the assembly, but once your eyes are opened, and then you if you're fortunate enough to find the assembly, or eventually find it, or however come across the information, I mean, it turns into I felt like I had just been knocked out by a 6'7", 350-pound lineman, been hit by a freight train. I was pissed.
Yeah. I think it was for me on YouTube.
I'm going to go ahead and get that. Yeah, I'm putting a link for Paul Harvey in chat.
Mm-hmm.
Panther's
for
got
those
it.
of you who are interested.
Panther just
I'm
put
going
it
to do because I'm already started.
It's kind of like once you figure all this stuff out, it's kind of like the Truman Show, if you've ever seen that movie.
I have not seen the Truman Show.
That's a good one. That's a personal favorite.
Basically, the Truman Show is the Truman Show is basically a Truman. Truman is Jim Carrey playing the part, and basically his whole life has been in front of a camera. Everything he meets throughout his life
has
are
been
actors.
scripted. Yeah.
The only thing that that wasn't scripted was what he would say or do, which we kind of knew what he was going to do because they grew up. He was like a or something.
I don't know if it's where I am or where you're at, Vex, but your audio is kind of coming in and out.
Yeah,
it's where I am.
You're
It's
kind of turning
on my end.
You're turning into like a Siri kind of voice.
Played.
But,
Yeah, that connection. Same reason why when I played the video earlier, it didn't go very well.
Yeah, it was practically impossible to understand any words that was coming out on that video, which it was too bad because I would have liked to have watched it.
Well, I'll go ahead and get the link for that and throw that in the chat also.
That'd be cool. Thank you.
So Scrimshaw,
Mhm.
you're in Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
Yes. Yep.
And do you have an assembly going there?
Working on it.
Okay.
As
is everyone.
I had an issue which I felt we had a provocateur and things kind of got hijacked, and
Sorry to hear that. Was that recent or was that a while ago?
Not too long ago, and I had Stryker helping me out with something on teach me how to work some of the controls on the free conference call, and I had 5 people email me while I was online with him saying they were out. So that was pretty much half of the people we had, and so right now I have 4, and which is better than what we had because I was going on with 2 at one point. So we have 4, and I just got to start over is all.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just very confusing to me. It was very, very confusing.
If you don't mind me asking, what happened?
Well, I was working with this person, and they had an idea of the stuff they wanted to do, and they had more experience because they were in another assembly or something before this, and basically they wanted to try to get people from another assembly into our assembly, which kind of freaked me out. And
like a different organization, or
yes, yeah, a different organization, and I was not comfortable with that, and just making all kinds of references to things like that, and then he did a website, and Destry had given us some information, or he was going to help us with the website. So she decided she had to change the name, and and then apparently bought. You know how they have like something something something.org or .com. Well, she bought that, and then from what Destry wanted to do, and then she did the site someplace totally different. Name the assembly something totally different than what we do, and and this kind of stuff. And I kept asking her if she had talked to Destry, and she wouldn't answer me. And she said I was going to have an email contact on the site, and so I asked her about that, and she said, "What do you need that for?" So I mean, all this kind of stuff was going on and on. Finally, she said, "I'm not going to meet with you," and that's fine. I don't need this shit, because it was stressing me out, and I practically had a nervous breakdown because I was trying to I mean, I don't know anything about assemblies, and I'm like been trying to learn stuff and going to all these classes and all, and
You
attend.
know,
And it's like she was definitely. I feel like she infiltrated. Maybe I'm wrong, but I couldn't deal with it anymore. I really, literally, almost had a breakdown. And
I'll tell you one thing. Everybody keeps talking about knowledge and education and all that jazz. And yes, it is important. Yes, it needs to be known before you start making bulldog moves and everything. But here in Missouri, uh, we assembled on accident.
that's awesome.
I mean, literally on accident. And we sat there and looked at the first couple steps, and we said to ourselves, "Well, we just did that."
Yeah,
It's somebody's taking notes, right? There's a scribe,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody said, "Yep, I'm taking notes." And okay, well, we just assembled. I kind of looked around at everybody, and I was like, "Congratulations, guys! I mean, this was an accident, but it's truly not that hard."
yeah,
And
And
it can happen so organically that it takes the mental brain racking of, oh, I need to know this, and stuff. It kind of goes away once you have a true common issue.
Well, I
it's the
think the thing
cooperation.
is,
Everybody working towards the same cause.
I did not
Yeah.
know anything at all about assemblies, and before I even decided to jump in and get my feet wet, I went to a lot of the national meetings and I listened to as much as I could before I made the decision to get my feet wet. And because nobody was answering from Massachusetts and stuff, so um, and that's how it was. It just took me a while to get my feet wet, but the thing is that there was so much in my mind deception about going back and forth with things, and then lack of communication between Destry and this woman, and it wasn't Destry's fault, and and I was trying to fix it, and I couldn't fix it, and it's like forget it, So I had a good long talk with Ricky, long talk for me and Ricky anyway, and he just said, I just went and I spoke with 80 people and I got one person interested. So after he talked with me about that, I didn't feel so bad, but I pretty much lost everybody except for one person in the end, and now we got some new people come in, and I think it's gonna be all right, but I think about it and I said, well, maybe that wasn't the way it was supposed to be anyways, and
Right.
Exactly. It's
you know,
never over till it's over.
yeah, and so that's sort of what happened in a nutshell. But yeah,
Well,
I was getting
that's
really anxious because I really wanted to do a good job and I really wanted to be successful and stuff. And, I felt like I had failed, it was very frustrating and upsetting to me,
I could understand that.
But
I think everybody's scared of failure, but scariest thing out of it all is not trying.
exactly. So I just hung in
Yeah.
there for a little while longer. And I hung in for a little while longer, and we got this new fella in, and I really like him. And he even offered his place for meetings and stuff, so I'm really happy. I hope that this really pans out, and I got to get some time to get out there and talk to some people. I have a list of people I got to talk to and call, so I keep plugging it. So
Yeah.
Excellent.
know,
One of the
right?
things that I found out real early, and you know how long I've been dealing with this, Scrimshaw. I've
No,
been dealing with National Assembly for since me and Ricky started doing a show,
really?
and yeah, uh, way back when we first started hanging out with, basically back when he started, is shortly afterwards we started doing a show, and then we got involved with the assembly. And so I've been doing this for kind of, I don't know, at least a year, something like that.
Yeah,
But the past, I've been running around town and, the county and shit, and I've been trying to talk to as many people as possible. I must have talked to 300 people. I
yeah,
haven't got anything yet.
I'll
So
yeah.
tell you
you're ahead of
what.
me.
I'm from. I am fresh as a good way to put. I am fresh to Missouri soil. I was born and raised in Kansas, and uh, never thought I'd end up living in the state of Missouri or on the state of Missouri. And uh, here I am, and I'm trying to do this assembly, my assembly business here in Missouri, and I'm starting over, meeting new people, and I've found that just I'm in a smaller town. I think the town population here is maybe 4,000, probably under that,
Yeah,
and who knows if that's been updated and however long. But there's three, four bars in the whole town, and I call them bars because they have a liquor license. But there's a lot of veterans who hang out there, and I went and had dinner one night at a place that I'd been to once before, but wasn't during their busy hours.
yeah,
Sat down, and it was just a nice. He's a nice fella. He small town. He's very nice, and asked me my name and stuff, and we just kind of started shooting the shit a little bit. And he's like, "Oh well, you never know. Sometimes these small town bars, you can sit next to somebody famous." And I said, "Oh, I'm not famous or anything like that." And we kind of quit talking, and I had the National Assembly website pulled up on my phone, and I was reading something, and he kind of peeked over, and he was looking at it, and he's like, "You a businessman? You from out of town?" I was, no, I actually just moved here. And he's like, "Oh, that looks like a lot of jargon you got there on that page." And I was like, "Well, actually," and then it kind of blossomed, and he invited me out to the American Legion where all the veterans hang out.
oh, nice.
And
Yeah.
sometimes if you just don't, you set out with no intent of spreading assembly talk at whatever that point in time is, you can end up doing it very easily just by not having expectations. It's kind of walking into an environment
Yeah.
and meeting people.
Well, I haven't been going out too much, which is, I gotta start going out some more, but I haven't been going out too much as I have COPD and some other issues, so.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I'm just like not a people person as far as going out and stuff. I mean, I was more outward, but I know for the last several years I haven't been. I've been mostly staying close to home, so I need to branch out a little bit more.
And for a long time, um, for my age, anyways, everybody told me I act like an old man, and it took me moving you know, 4.5 hours away from home to have a desire to go out and meet people.
Yeah.
And sometimes it requires some life change. We get pretty comfortable doing whatever, and I understand you have medical reasons for not going too far, but sometimes just a change in the daily routine
Yeah, for sure. I hear you.
can change so
Absolutely.
much.
Yeah. I work
Frankly,
from home too.
exactly what you're saying, Scrimshaw. Yeah, I was kind of an introvert myself. I was always at home. If I wasn't at home, I was either at the store or just at work. So yeah, I was always at home. Quite frankly, it took me starting to do shows and stuff like that to make me go, hey, I can actually talk to people.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. No, I stay a lot at home and take care of my family business and stuff. And I have a small business that I try to get to. And frankly, with a lot of the assembly stuff, I haven't really been paying as much attention to my own business as I should. But, I do need to get out more. And,
If I had to guess, I would assume you're in the jewelry making business.
yeah.
Earrings.
My mother did that for a long time.
Yeah. It's not an easy business. It's easy to make stuff, but not easy to sell it. Yeah, I do that, and I do Reiki, and I guess right now I'm getting more business from people who've been really ill. I do distance Reiki for people, and so I'm getting more of that really than I am the jewelry. I haven't done jewelry right now since Christmas time. I
What is
just
Well,
that that you said?
Reiki. It's type of healing, and the man uh, that that founded Reiki or discovered Reiki actually was looking for the method of that Jesus was using to heal. He called it the lost method of Jesus's healing, but it's done. It's sort of like an energy healing, and it's done by laying on of hands or you can send like energy, thought, prayer kind of thing. Really isn't prayer. It really isn't religious, according to some people. But I kind of I keep use Jesus and God and all as my guide, and
Hmm.
and you send an
very
energetic
cool.
type of healing. And frankly, I didn't even want to become a practitioner or anything. I just was using it because I was having an awful lot of pain, and I used it to get me out of pain because I couldn't take some of the pain medicine they wanted to put me on. Made me terribly sick. And my
Hmm.
voice teacher's son-in-law was doing it, and I think I probably broke my foot. And I was having trouble with the doctors, and they wouldn't even x-ray it. And in fact, two doctors were laughing at me because I couldn't walk. And I couldn't put a shoe on. I was really having a bad time. So finally, my voice teacher said, "Why don't you go see Bart?" So I did. And after one treatment, I had no pain in that foot, and I haven't had any pain in the foot ever since.
That's
So,
awesome.
so he asked me if I wanted to study it. And of course, I was like, sure. I was really happy he asked me, and I studied it. And I think that was like in 2004. So, I've been doing it for a while. And I got up to the second level, which is a practitioner level, and I didn't have anybody to practice on. So I used to go on Facebook and ask people if they wanted Reiki, and I'd send it to them, and I did that a long time. finally I stopped doing that. And, I've only had a few hands-on treatments and for people, but right now I'm just doing the distance Reiki for people, and most of them have difficult things to deal with, like cancer and multiple sclerosis, brain embolisms, stuff like that. So, um,
Hmm.
it's kind of heavy work, but it's also good work because helps me feel better at you when I do it. So, um, yeah, but there's certain ways of like if you're doing it with your hands on, it's like you're the conduit for God's energy, uh, and you
Sounds
could
like
feel.
something need to learn.
I'd be happy to teach you if you can get on Skype or something. I could probably teach you on Skype. Um, I became a Reiki master teacher, certified Reiki master teacher, and I had a student a while back who I brought through that level, so she's a teacher now, and I could certify people to do it. So, but yeah, I mean, I can teach you how to do it. It's not hard. You just got to
I'm
keep practicing.
So, just the reason why I kind of asked about the jewelry was what it sounds like is you don't really do the jewelry much anymore.
Well, right now I go through periods where I get very creative and I do stuff like that, but lately my focus has been more on learning stuff for the assembly and
Uh-huh.
going to meetings and
What
stuff like that and putting on
what
my meeting.
what I was gonna say or suggest was my mom when she was in the jewelry business, um, she was quite successful for a good period of time, and she would have uh, jewelry shows. She would invite people to over to the house, and she'd make little hors d'oeuvres or whatever, and
Hmm.
showcase her jewelry. And it was just a networking kind of thing. But I was going to say, if you were doing the jewelry business, you could also grow your business and spread assembly message at the same time when you have an audience like
Yeah,
that, because I don't like to make stereotypes or anything like that, but women love to talk, and
yeah,
when you get jewelry involved, women you can talk to women about anything.
yeah. Well, the problem that I got right now is being in a state which is a blue state,
Uh
and
huh.
everybody's really into the narrative right now, and they haven't even had church services in the church yet. Uh,
Oh.
yeah, so they've been doing video church services, things like this, and I'm not real active in the community right now. I um, and you can't have business in your home. It's really weird. They're really very regulatory. I mean, we have, I think, under 4,000 people here like you, but it's a very small place and there's a lot of houses around. It isn't spread out and stuff like in other rural areas. It's just like a whole bunch of people and houses crammed on this little peninsula. And, so Massachusetts, I mean, they're all still into all this mass thing. It's very surreal when I go outside and you see like a
Is
couple
is
have
that where the name
a
Massachusetts came from?
child.
Everybody everybody was at mass.
Massachusetts, yeah. Uh, some people call it Massachusetts, but I call it Massachusetts right now. Um, yeah, but I mean, you go down the beach and onto the walkway that goes along Nahant and Lynn, and people will be strolling their baby. The baby's got a mask on and the couple's got a mask on. It's really bizarre. People would jog with masks on, ride their bikes with masks on.
I'll tell you what, I had a buddy showing me around the state here, and we went to St. Louis County, and there's a park downtown where they had the World's Fair in 1904,
Yep.
and they have a statue there in a St. Louis art museum, and in front of that is a 30 to 40 foot tall statue of King Louis on a horse.
Yep.
And
Yep.
somebody in the last few months had gone up there and put a red mask with the Florida leaves on it, on the statue of King Louis. And I was just like, wow. I was just like, these people don't quit. I mean,
Yeah, so is your state blue or is it red?
Oh, we're red, baby.
we are red, but the area where I'm at, there you start to get a lot more blue.
Yep.
Towards this. I'm not close to the city, but I'm close enough to the city, and St. Louis County is so big
Yep.
that it's just it's actually quite crazy. It's St. Louis County. They keep trying to spread it further and further,
Yeah.
and they're trying to make it. There's so many municipalities and jurisdictions that there's one road here. It's called Manchester Road,
Yeah.
and it'll take you pretty far. But you will drive through.
I walked that
Probably-
entire.
What's that?
I walked that entire road.
Yeah, you go down Manchester, and you will go through probably 30 different jurisdictions.
Wow.
It's insanity.
Yep.
And they're trying to centralize the St. Louis Police Department and have them cover all of that. And it's just insanity. It got voted down so quick, but they wanted St. Louis, like downtown St. Louis where the arch is, they wanted that police department to cover almost 80 square miles, maybe. I mean, it was
That's a lot. That's
ridiculous. And that's city and urban, like metropolitan area.
Yeah, that's too much.
It's way too much, and they're trying to spread that out, and that's just, in my opinion, a very, I guess we'll call it a blue type of thought process or ideology. But I was like, wow, that would be the biggest disaster on the planet.
Yeah, because you wouldn't get anybody doing anything. There would be too much for people to keep up with.
And they talk about St. Louis being one of the most, dangerous cities in the country.
Yeah.
When in all reality, it's really, there are some bad places. I mean, just like in any big city, there's bad areas. But the fact of the matter is that St. Louis County is so large that the amount of crime that goes on in just the whole county alone, they have to count all of it. So the numbers don't match or come close to really anything else. So it looks like it's a very awful, bad place, but it's really not. It's just the whole blue ideology behind all of it that makes it look so bad.
Yeah. And if it's a larger place.
Putting up a picture.
Yeah. I mean, if that's, like if St. Louis is a larger area of city, it has more population there than some of the other areas, of course it's going to look worse because the more people you have, the more crime you're probably going to have. So,
Well, that and then just the actual county itself is so large,
yeah,
and and it's kind of like Kansas City is very condensed and small,
yep,
but it once you're in Kansas City, in the middle of Kansas City downtown, you I mean you're in a city and it's very condensed, compact, but once you're outside of it, that environment is gone completely, and that's
yeah,
the exact opposite of how it is in the St. Louis area,
right.
and it's quite interesting. But
I
Well, I
grew up down
think,
Vex,
there.
Vex, you said you're doing what?
I grew up down there.
Okay, whereabouts?
There about let's see, I lived in Kirkwood. I live in uh, St. Charles. I live in
Okay,
uh, I, for a short time. I was in I can't remember the damn name of the place. Yeah, basically that whole area was
okay,
my stomping grounds growing up.
all right.
Like I said, I went me and my buddy for fun. Uh, Basically, catch a bus to Manchester Road, and we would ride it all the way downtown just because we didn't have nothing better to do, and then wait
Yeah,
for it to turn around and come back all the way up.
the only real friend I have out here lives out in Baldwin. I don't know if you know where that's at,
Yeah, yeah.
but
Dated a chick from there.
oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's an interesting county. They have all kinds of weird stuff going on. They're trying to legalize bow hunting in neighborhoods because the deer population is so heavily populated there, and
wow,
the
yeah.
vehicle insurance companies are actually backing that and trying to help push it because they're trying to reduce the number of claims. So they're trying to
Oh, absolutely.
legalize hunting in neighborhoods, which I find hilarious. But
To me, it's not unheard of because
at the same time, the hillbilly
there's
in
a
me
lot of
finds it
places.
awesome.
There's a lot of places that actually do that. I'm can some YouTube channels that basically do urban hunts. I mean, you're hearing past and stuff like that. Going, "Ooh, see one," you know.
Yeah,
like,
I was hoping Dan would get on. He had really been digging up some good Missouri history. He's been sending me stuff all day, and I've been trying to keep up with it, but he just keeps coming with it. It's pretty good. I don't know if you've been reading any of it, but
Yeah, I have. I haven't got to it all yet.
he may
I
knock
was
you out as the educator,
all right. Whoever's best at it.
or or maybe you'll just have to learn whatever he digs up. Maybe he's a historian and you're the educator.
Yeah. Either way, whoever it needs to work out. I thought it was kind of funny that I was the historian. And I'm sitting there going, I don't know much about history of Missouri yet.
I wasn't into history at all when I was in school, so
That was the only freaking thing I was any good at.
I
And
slept through all my classes equally.
I just took languages and music because I went into music and that was my thing. And, I just didn't want to study history. I was bored in history class. But now it's like I'm very interested in history. Uh, it's a lot better now,
Yeah.
than it was when I was a kid. It was just a bore. Um, I-
well, you gotta have. I find that if you have a motive a desire, and the desire here for pretty much all of us is to learn the history that made us what we could be and what we used to be.
Yeah.
So now we're all motivated. Now we all want to know the history, and we can't find it.
Yeah,
Right.
it's hard
It's
to find.
pretty ironic, but
I think
if we don't learn it now, you know.
even studying genealogy, you can find some history. I've worked a little bit on genealogy. My father did, and I found that very interesting. But you can't help but learn history through some of that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
And we have kind of a long history here, so
Oh yeah.
so it's very interesting to me. I mean, I found out. I don't know if you know about Rebecca Nurse in Salem, how she was hung for being a witch, which she wasn't.
Oh yeah. We were forced to read that about
Well,
the Salem witch trials, and
yeah, well, she was my ninth great grandmother.
oh wow.
Yeah, so I mean, I've delved a lot into it, and my cousin, she's into genealogy. She's also writing some books. She's starting to do professional genealogy. Some of the stuff she's been finding out has been amazing. But I mean, I've learned a lot just through delving in through some of that and going through some of the Massachusetts history. I mean, I'll see stuff on timelines, and then I keep seeing that come up. But
Yeah.
uh,
You're correct. I'm sitting here thinking, and genealogy will lead you down some pretty interesting paths. My aunt was married to a man with the last name Key,
yeah,
and I don't know if you know anything about the last name Key, but
I do.
he was directly related to Francis Scott Key,
That's what I thought.
and for a while that really didn't mean much to me, and then once probably about the time I turned 15 or 16 years old, I was like, okay, that's pretty dang cool. Like I'm related to the fellow that wrote the national anthem. Like, all right.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
And then I'm the great grandchild of Noah Webster.
Oh, cool.
Huh.
But I also learned there's some hairy business going on there. Merriam-Webster was a lawyer who worked for I can't remember which administration that helped push the Federal Reserve Act. Oh man, I can't remember. But
Okay.
he was a lawyer helping push for that Federal Reserve Act, and I've never been more pissed off with any ancestor of mine. I was pretty livid when I found that out. I was like, well, I kind of wish that son of a bitch might have died. And I was like,
Yeah.
well, then I probably wouldn't be here. But like, yeah, okay, well, he's a bastard. I'll just put it there.
Woodrow Wilson.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
But genealogy
Well, they all,
take you down some crazy history.
the only
Yeah,
thing
you
I
will.
really know about my family is that I still can't pronounce the name of them, but I'm related to German knights. Non, to I don't know how to
Tonic.
say it. Yeah, thank you. It's something that I've never been able to pronounce. I know that, and that I'm related somehow to Helen Keller
Oh,
on the
that's
same
cool.
side of the family.
Wow.
Huh. Interesting.
Interesting how these things work out.
Yeah, but that's the only thing I know about my family history, other than recent history. Like my grandfather was half Indian, my grandmother was half Irish, and stuff like that. But
Cool.
Huh.
Do you know what
Germany, half
tribe?
my family, Cherokee, generally. Yeah, they're all over
Yeah.
the place. It's been told by other family members that we have a little bit of Apache
Yeah.
somehow. I don't really believe them.
Yeah. Well,
Nonetheless,
But that's about it.
it's all it just kind of proves to me that if you dig far enough or in almost any spot, you can find something interesting.
yes, exactly.
So a lot of people, say, history is boring, history is whatever, but it's so important. And if you look anywhere, and just about anybody, especially when you're talking about genealogy, you can trace it back to some point where somebody's like, oh, okay, cool, I'm related to somebody that made a mark somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a good way to pique people's interest.
Yeah, it's interesting. You go on some of the. I'm exploring my mother's side. That was my father's side, related to Rebecca Nurse, and also Rebecca was a town, and it's weird because I found out Vincent Price was related to the towns, so he's probably some distant cousin of mine, and the guy that acted in all horror movies and stuff. So you
Yep.
don't know who you're gonna come up with.
And don't forget Thriller.
Yeah, and what was I learning about? I was reading about Plymouth or listening to a video or some dang thing, and I found out what's that younger girl? She's a popular singer, and I think she used to be on Disney stuff. What the hell was her name?
There's a lot of those.
She's a blonde, but she usually has short hair, and
Oh,
Miley Cyrus.
yeah, Billy Ray Cyrus's daughter.
yeah, I think
Ellie.
she's related to some of the Plymouth, the first that came in on the Mayflower, and that I found out when I was looking around at some of that stuff, and I found some great historical videos on Massachusetts in this one fella's site. I think I subscribed here on YouTube.
I guess what we have a little collaboration of minds here. I'll ask you guys if I guess this is more for you, Scrimshaw. As far as your research into your state and stuff,
Hmm.
how have you found, or where do you typically find the most useful information? Or
Well, I gotta say, Destry did an unbelievable amount of history for Massachusetts on the site he put down, and even though like I didn't look as much at it before I started research, I did find a lot online. But I think now, after looking at that history of Trask is going to do on the Danvers Revolution, I'm sure there's going to be a lot that I'll find at some of the libraries here. I'm sure BPL probably has stuff, but BPL is so huge, I have a hard time navigating that place. And so there's a lot of genealogy and local history that Dick Trask has done. Richard Trask is his name, and and online I found documents, and I know that you can go to there's like a state archive you could probably go to.
Yeah, that's what I've been trying to look for.
But
Really,
I didn't like want to go there because I didn't want to flag myself,
yeah. I
asking for
do.
certain things. But
I was informed by somebody, the content on their webpage is so vast, and their actual library is insane. But I was told that a lot of the information on the Library of Congress, the
yep,
website, is mostly unmolested,
yep,
and there's a
that,
lot of information there.
and I think another thing that might be good is some of the historical societies have a lot of information,
I've found that recently too.
and
I'm
they have a lot of the times they keep libraries of the older books and stuff, and
mhm.
they'll know things that you normally wouldn't know. And so I'm blessed in this area. There's a lot of that kind of stuff around where I am. Um, you know, I mean, I think it just delves. You got to delve deep sometimes, and it'd be nice to go and try to get things from the state archives. I don't know if they're open to the public right now. This is another thing. You probably have to mail a request or something like that for stuff, and but we do have the public libraries, and I think libraries and historical societies are probably the most valuable things you can come across, because you'll find like older people who are familiar with the stuff, like the people that keep the historical societies. They'll know where a lot of stuff is, uh, and they could probably lead you to things that you wouldn't find anyplace else. Um,
Hmm.
that's
Yeah, it's it seems like the struggle now is finding quality information. There's all kinds of information out there. It's just information that is good. It's not information that's going to lead you down the wrong road.
yeah,
And
exactly.
I've been trying to keep myself very focused on, okay, how reliable is this source? And if it is a reliable source, to whose standard is it a reliable source?
Yeah,
There's a lot of that. Just because the tampering of the wordage and everything now, I've become aware of, just to the degree of how the word "the" can change the context of a single sentence entirely.
yeah,
It's finding quality information really now that's a struggle.
exactly.
But
Well, I would say, you know, if your state has an archive, I do think the Library of Congress is great. You'll probably find a lot there that you can't find elsewhere, because I know I worked at the library here in my town, and they purged so many books, and I think what they did, they had actually the largest Civil War collection in the whole state, most complete of literature, and so on and so forth. But I think they sent it to the Historical Society, which that made me happy. But they got rid of a lot of stuff, and a lot of the stuff was writings of local authors, but which was a shame, because they got a new librarian in and she purged a lot. But that's what's happening now. They're getting rid of a lot of the older books at the
yeah, and
libraries.
I've actually I hardly ever get on Facebook anymore.
Yeah,
I actually do my best to stay off of it, honestly. But I do use the marketplace on there,
yeah,
and I've come across a couple of people who have giant collections of official state manuals
yeah.
that go back quite a ways. And
Beautiful.
I'm trying to figure out whether the state manuals are de facto BS or if there could be some valuable information there. And
Well, there might be valuable information, even though it's de facto, but it might give you some ideas about what was happening at the time.
mm-hmm. It's just it's mind boggling. Probably the second week I was here, maybe the first weekend or the second weekend I was here, I I went to a Barnes and Noble, and I was trying to get a copy of the state's constitution, and they didn't even have that. They only had a couple copies of not good copies either of the United States Constitution,
Yep.
and you know it's I was almost I almost got upset with the lady. I know it wasn't her fault, but I was like, this is a bookstore. I mean, like, come on, you don't have a copy of any of that, you know? Like, I got to the point where I was like, do you have a copy of Common Sense by Thomas Paine? And she's like, we could order one. I was like, this is a freaking giant store. This is a freaking bookstore. You don't even have that.
Yeah, but it's a retail thing, you know. It's like if when I worked at the library, right? I mean, you could get deals on books. Like, so if you got a deal from a book publisher or whatever, you know, oftentimes they're the ones that are selecting the books. You see what I'm saying? So you
Mm-hmm.
can't get the books that you want.
Yeah.
And so they're just into selling, you know, retail, you know, and so that's why you're gonna have to order everything. I mean, you'd be better off, you know, if you're looking for that kind of thing, to either order it or go on and get a secondhand copy from eBay or you know, Amazon or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
or see if that you could get a PDF from online. But
Yeah.
you know, as far as
I've gotten to the point where I go to antique shops to look for books now.
yep, and you
Yep.
know, as far as the state constitution there, you know, you can actually probably get it from the state archives. I think they have to archive that stuff.
Well, yeah, I'm sure, but I'm a hands-on person, and
Yeah,
I I will take I prefer a hard copy rather than even if I can print it off.
yeah,
I'd rather have the tangible, physical, real thing in my hands for one.
yep.
I mean, it's kind of a silly thing, but I'm just stubborn that way.
But I mean, you could probably get a physical copy from your state archives.
True.
Um, there's got to be a like a state library, or state archive kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And you may have to pay a fee or something. I really don't know, but I'm pretty sure you could probably get that. But you know, the other thing is you might find something at a historical society
Yes.
or a local library. Some of your libraries do store documents, and like we had some stuff at our library we didn't keep out all the time for the public, you know, because it was so old and stuff. But if you ask for it, you know, it could be seen. You know, but like to go for me to go to BPL, I mean, I went there trying to do some music research, and the place is so damn big. And I couldn't even fathom what I was doing. I mean, you know, if I wanted to get a music score, borrow a music score, I could do that. But, you know, trying to do research there was horrific, just too large. So, I mean, I think, uh, you know, if you could find out a little bit more about the state constitution, like maybe where they met or something like that. Maybe the
Mhm.
historical society in that area. You know that they met to make the Constitution would have some information on that for you. That's my thought. But yeah, probably at the Library of Congress you could find something like that. You know, you might be able to get a copy of that via the Library of Congress. You know, uh, in their archive, you might be able to print something off on the computer. But no, no, I don't think any retail bookseller, and I'm not talking about antique dealers or antique booksellers. I'm talking something like Barnes and Nobles are going to have a copy of the state constitution.
Yeah.
You know,
Which I don't know. I guess I just assumed that something as simple as the state constitution would be readily. It just that would be something that even a place like Barnes and Noble would carry. But I was wrong.
no, and I don't think that they would have a copy of the original constitution of the country either.
No, they don't.
It would be more the updated version of things,
Yeah,
and
Constitution of, not Constitution for, which is finding a Constitution for the United States rather than a Constitution of the United States is being almost impossible.
yep, yep. So I wouldn't even try Barnes and Noble, but I mean, if you want to order a copy of a
Yeah,
book, I think you could do that. But
yeah. It's just I'm newer to the area, so I was just like, where are the bookstores at? So I just kind of had to start somewhere, but I'm sure I'll figure out a good source somewhere here soon.
well, mostly
Well,
here,
on Amazon,
there's Barnes and Noble here, but there's some secondhand stores around. There's one actually in Danvers. There's one that carries sheet music, and I bought sheet music in there, and they have older books in there, and a lot of it's fiction and stuff. But uh, you can find some older books in there too. So I think any of that kind of thing, going to antique places or secondhand bookshops or any place that sells secondhand books, you might find something very interesting.
Yeah. Vex, you were saying something?
yeah, on Amazon, it's got a page United States Constitution original layout and size. $34.99
All right.
For what?
for a 4-page United States Constitution original layout. I'm
The
giving you
original.
the link to it and putting it in there.
All right.
Yep.
Be interesting to see if you could get a Missouri Constitution in there. But the original,
Yeah,
I'm
you can from Illinois.
Yeah.
you might be able to get I would think the state archives would be a good place to look, or any historical kind of place.
Yeah. I'm Vex actually. I've been thinking about trying to make a trip out to Jeff City. I don't even know if the Capitol building is open, but I know a lot of they used to do tours and stuff all the time, but who knows? I didn't even know if it was open.
I have it's open and if it is open, you have to wear masks and shit like that to go in there.
Yeah.
I checked on it to make specifics of it. Yeah, it's generally a government building.
Of course.
Put the link in here, but the link's too long.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so you probably would. You'd have to wear that if you went in there now, depending on what your state's doing.
Well,
and
if they require me to wear a mask, I will I'll do. I'll go above and beyond. I'll put it that way.
Well,
Yeah.
you could do what I did whenever I had to go to court and with the judge. I just hung it off my ear. He said, "You're going to have to wear that." I said, "No, I don't," and you know that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm more or less the type of person where I tell them to either take a hike, or if they if it's somewhere I actually have to get into and I'm in a hurry, I'll I'll make I'll make an effort to stand out. Maybe go as far as getting like some scuba gear, having my own fresh oxygen supply.
That's funny. Yeah, I mean, I think there should be a state archive, but I bet you anything you'll be able to find a copy of it at the Library of
I'm
Congress.
going to go ahead and as go ahead and have like a historical here in Jefferson City. I'm going to go and check with them and see what they have.
Yeah. Do you know where they put the original state constitution together?
Um,
Probably in
no, I don't.
I would guess St. Louis.
I think it's in Jeff City, but I'm not sure.
Could be. I feel like
for some reason I think
I've read it in the last couple days. I'm sure, but
well, I bet you could. Just
I've been trying to poke holes in everything rather than, I guess, absorb information like I should be.
Well, that's I have an absorption myself. I put it in, but
the link into. I put the link in for Amazon to and scroll down the page and you'll see the Constitution I was talking about.
All right, you put it in the chat.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome.
Oh yeah. Oh, that looks like a great book. Of course, there's only one left.
Are we gonna fight over it, VEX?
Yeah. I'll wait and let you guys order it first. I ain't gonna get it. I'll wait.
Well, this is the Constitution itself, a copy of it. So I already have a copy of the Constitution, so go for it.
Okay.
Oh, Hayden, you can get it.
You know what?
It even looked.
I will knock on wood. Hopefully, somebody doesn't beat me to it.
Okay. Well, I'll wait.
I am the type of person, though. I enjoy the enjoy the hunt of finding like a 1940s, 1930s copy of something like that somewhere. So
I wonder if you could write the Smithsonian for some of this stuff.
That's possible.
I feel like they're probably not obligated to give that out.
Probably not.
No.
That's a good idea, though.
This
state and city archives, whatever.
This to put up the link to the 4-page United States Constitution. It actually comes on antiqued parchment, so it actually looks like the original.
So it comes on parchment paper?
Yes.
That is cool.
And it looks like strip parchment, like it is old, but it's not old.
That's cool. Wow, how much is that? That was the one you're talking about?
$35. Yeah, that's the one that was on Amazon. That's why I bought it, because it looks real good. I'm just like, wow, it's the original.
Huh.
Oh, there's a bunch of books about the original Constitution. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. There's 4-page United States Constitution in its original layout and size. That's cool. Yeah, that's $34.
Yeah.
That I scrolled down.
That would be to get and frame up and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be a fun one.
Yeah, but there's an awful lot of books about the original Constitution and what it meant. This is great.
Oh yeah, everybody's got it. Everybody's got an opinion on what the Constitution meant. It's fluid, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I think
I
Hey,
know.
it's an. I find that to be one of the most annoying arguments.
Yeah, it's like it was meant.
Shall not be infringed. I don't know how that's open to interpretation.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well,
I
that's
mean,
that's the
where do you get the idea where if I say shall not be infringed, where does that give you the idea of, well, we can change this? Nope.
That's in my mind,
yeah.
that change it too much.
Yeah, people say that it's a fluid document, and that this is what they meant. This is not what they meant. It's all the legalese that the lawyers brought into it. The 13th Amendment needs to be reinstated so we can basically go back to the way it should be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All the ability and titles and basically the lawyers and all that. They're all trash from another country, so they know it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it
It's
sounds
not the
like
lawyer's fault. They're just ignorant.
it's turned into our job to tell them, sorry, but whether you know it or not, you're kind of a jackass. No offense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Your occupation is
me too.
kind of outlawed. Well, I guess the
Kind of the
occupation.
opposite was it.
Go ahead.
One of the things I love throwing out there is goes, buddy. Excuse me. One of the things I like throwing at people all the time is the fact that all the traffic stops and all the you don't really like it. No, man, we hate that type of stuff. We always got cops and all that stuff. I was like, you know what? The original Constitution and everything, you don't have to do that. Why? Because you're an individual person who be equipped with your own decisions, and you don't need police telling us to drive. You need police telling you that you're not allowed to go in this park because it's on a certain day. You don't have it's not their job. They made it their job.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Vex.
I hope that came in clear.
I got the idea of what you're saying, but your audio is you turned into a Siri again.
Yeah, I was breaking up.
But I'm actually I got to call it a night. I enjoy speaking with you guys. I always appreciate you having me on, Vex. Look forward to
you're always welcome.
Seeing you here in the future.
Yeah, it was nice to see you, Hayden. Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, it was nice to talk to you. I always see you in the background, Scrimshaw. So nice to talk to you.
Thank you.
Nice. Well, have a good
I appreciate you coming up. I appreciate you coming up, Hayden. And like I said, you're welcome. And I hope I'm not roboting out too much. But
well, I heard
and okay, excellent, good. I got sitting here watching the little eater basically bottom out every time I talk.
So, it knows you're talking.
Yeah. Have a good night.
Yes. You as well. Bye.
Bye.
Good. Thank you, Scrum, for coming up here and basically, saving my butt and, talking to me and stuff so we have dead air space.
That's okay. I don't mind talking. I guess I don't know if I talk very well or not, but I try.
Doing just me.
Anyway, yeah, so I like Hayden coming on and talk about some of that stuff. And yeah, I mean, I found a lot of documents that Destry had put in Massachusetts already, which was amazing. So I started reading from the beginning. On the Magna Carta, he had a whole thing that he wrote up on the Magna Carta, and uh, so I want to read all the way through that stuff. And I know I just got so many books and stuff I want to read. Every time I turn around, somebody else is mentioning something. Excuse me to read, and uh, but
Oh yeah, it's overwhelming.
I gotta try to focus on what's at hand now, and so that's why I like to go to like Charlene's class and stuff. I sit there and I figure the more I listen to it, the more it'll get in my head. But even though she'll do like the repetitive class, it seems to me like every time that things are talked about, I learn extra or different information. There'll be something that comes up that's a little bit different, and it's very interesting to me. So I keep going back, even though they're the same three classes, like every 3 weeks in succession. And I try to go
Mm.
as often as I'm able to. And I gone to
I would need to. Hmm?
pardon.
I
Go
was
ahead.
say I needed to figure out a way to get on the assembly calls on the computer. I don't have a cancer maker phone. Did you get any of
I
that?
don't. You said you needed to find a way to get on the assembly calls, but I didn't hear part of it, and then I heard something about phone. I think there's recordings of these meetings.
No,
And I would ask Destry if you get a chance. I would ask Destry if there's a number you could call to listen to the meeting if you have missed the national. I think
right.
it's. I think those recordings are available. So hopefully that will be helpful. Um,
Yeah, I'm able to call into there. Able to come to the assembly, but I'd rather not use my phone to call. My
yeah.
phone sucks. It's a piece of crap, and I can't hear a damn thing. I might as well not even be listening. I was on the call with Hayden last night, like that half the call. I didn't understand a damn thing. It was driving me insane.
Did you try something like what do you call it? Free conference call? I mean, you might be able to get some kind of phone that you can use online if you got a PC.
No.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Do you
Yeah,
have a
I'll check into
PC?
that.
There is some kind of
Yeah,
either
I'm on the laptop.
very inexpensive ones, or like very inexpensive internet phone services you can get that are less expensive, like in the regular ones that you get. That maybe you could
I
call in
know.
from.
Yeah,
I
I noticed that my laptop, something that has a phone in it, some some kind of app. But, I have never messed with, so just that happens.
Yeah, well, maybe you could look into that, and maybe you could get a more clear sound from using your laptop if that's what you've been using. Um, but
Yeah,
I
the
listen.
laptop is the reason it went out.
I lost you, VEX.
Actually, yeah, uh, the laptop is the reason such audio issues.
Okay, I still can't understand you. I'm
All
sorry,
right,
but
no problem. It's my fault.
don't worry about it. But I noticed with the free conference call, you know, I went into my number and then I went into the Wednesday night class when Paul was on when they did it on free conference call, and things were very clear. Now I don't know if you can use the free conference call number on the computer to get into the national or something like that. I know you're frustrated. Um, but there is other phone service. I know my girlfriend up here got a phone service that she could call places from her computer. So uh, I'm thinking that might be something you could think about.
Yeah.
So yeah,
If you understand.
so you're on a cell phone then trying to do this stream, right? Am I?
No, no, this is on the laptop. I
Okay.
used to have a PC, but it fried something fried a PC, so I have to fix it and spin everything on this laptop and just not picking up good signal.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I can't
because
plug it in directly.
yeah, you can't hardwire in, and you have to be on Wi-Fi, right?
There's got to be a way to plug it into the damn modem or something. Fucking.
You know what? I'll ask my husband
Going
if he knows
crazy.
a way. I will. My husband's into IT, and I'll ask him if there's a way to do that.
All right. Since I'm having such issues, I'm going to go ahead and shut it down.
Okay,
Thank you very
VEX.
much, Scrimshaw, for helping me out and coming on here and talking your good talk.
Oh, thank you.
That was good stuff.
Thank you for having me up here. Anytime, VEX. I appreciate you having me up, and I hope you have a good weekend. And come on again. And don't be afraid to come up, even though your sound is funky. We'll just deal with it. We'll just keep plugging on in. Maybe at
Yep.
some point I'll get a StreamYard. You could come up on my StreamYard. I don't know if that'll make any difference, but maybe somehow I could help you with that and
That would be cool.
to stream some of those videos or whatever. All night, Nate, night, Panther. So anyway, thank you again,
Good night.
and blessings to everybody. Yep. Bye. Night.
Good night. Have a great weekend, Michelle. I'm sure I'll see you around in chats.
Okie dokie. You too, VEX. Thank you.
All righty. Bye. All right. I'd like to thank Caden and Scrimshaw for coming on and doing the promo. Only hoping that you're actually able to hear the words I'm saying right now. It says that I have 2 bars, so I'm going to assume you are. Thank you again for in and participating in chat. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you, especially Panther, for throwing up them links fast on a draw. Love it. And yeah, I guess I'll go ahead and shut this down. Good night and sweet dreams.